Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we're going to take a look at the second of the current wave of Soundstrike figures, the initial wave for the Primal attack line from Mattel for the Jurassic World toy line. And you can see that we are looking at the Pteranodon. There are actually 3 figures out in this group currently. The other is a Triceratops and of course the Cryolophosaurus, which we have looked at previously. Unfortunately, I don't have the Triceratops quite yet, but I fully intend on getting it and reviewing it here on the channel extremely soon. Again, this I've been saying for quite a little while now is one that I was actually really excited about due to the very cool looking paint scheme, and in person it definitely impresses me quite a bit. I have heard quite a few people stating that they just weren't really too impressed with the Pteranodon or the Triceratops, and I actually feel like kind of the opposite. This Pteranodon I think is one of the coolest looking paint schemes we've seen on a Pteranodon for this entire line so far, so I was really excited about getting a hold of this. The packaging is again your typical Primal attack packaging, nothing new, nothing flashy. The back of the box shows a few images of the Pteranodon actually in action, and of course down there in the corner the other 2 Primal attack Soundstrike figures that are currently out. So let's break this out of the packaging and take a look at it. So here is our Pteranodon, and of course we can pull the wings out to make the wings much longer, so it definitely has some very good size to it. It's obviously one of the larger Pteranodon figures of the line, probably the second largest because it's right in that same similar size range as the Dual Attack and Roarivore figures. The only one larger than this would be the basic Pteranodon, but it really looks great here at first glance out of the packaging, so let's go ahead and take a closer look at it right now. So we don't really need to look at the sculpt. We've reviewed the sculpt of the Pteranodon about 4,000 times probably already, so we're really only going to take a look at what's new on this current figure, and you can see that the overall coloration of the figure is like a chocolate brown, and it has this very cool grayish coloration that kind of litters the head and up onto the crest of the pterosaur. And it looks really nice, honestly, in comparison to the brown. I really like the darker coloration on darker coloration. It looks very natural. It doesn't have an overly bright and flashy appearance like some of the previous releases do. So I definitely really like this version just because it's a little darker and a little more realistic probably in comparison to some of the previous releases. The eye paint is a yellowish color. I believe the pupil there is just a brown, so it's probably the same brown that you see for the primary coloration of the head. The eyes aren't poorly placed, they look decent, maybe not exactly as they should be, but they're not bad either. I don't know if it's going to make noise. Okay, the Soundstrike did not go off when I opened the mouth, but you can see that the tongue is painted on the inside of the mouth, as are the teeth on the lower and upper jaw. Pteranodon in actuality did not have any teeth at all, but the Jurassic World version apparently does, so the teeth are painted regardless of whether that is actually accurate or not. As we come back into the neck and the body area of the Pteranodon, you can see that it's just this same brown coloration the whole way through, but it has some really nice greens added to the wings that kind of stripe down and has a very cool appearance to it, honestly. And you can see that there are different variations of green as it starts out with kind of this darker green that you also see up here on the body, kind of striping and littering the body, and then transitions to this lighter green the further out into the wing you get, and then right around the hand area it kind of disappears. You've got the seam here where you pull the wing out, and also the seam for the action feature as the wing kind of flaps. But then you've also got that dark green again here at the tip of the wing, and that looks a little different, I think, in comparison to a lot of the previous Pteranodon releases as well. Looks really, really cool. And I think that the design and, of course, the green kind of playing off of this darker brown looks really, really nice. I really absolutely love that. The feet also have a grayish color to them, so the brown transitions back to that similar dark gray that you saw up on the head and beak area. The underside, unfortunately, sports no color difference whatsoever. It's all just this brownish coloration. You can see the Jurassic Facts app there if you would like to add this to your collection. The only real color difference on the entire underside, I would say, is probably just the feet being a grayish color. That's pretty much it. Other than that, it's all that same brown. The only real color difference is up here on the body and the wings on the top, and then of course the head and the feet. So let's go ahead and get a look at the action features of this Pteranodon. So once I actually activate the action features, you're going to hear the noise, as well as this is a Soundstrike figure, but you can push this first button, similar to the Dual Attack Pteranodon actually, which will activate the mouth. Really awesome sounds there. But then you've got the second button that will activate the wing flap. love that action feature actually. Probably the coolest action feature we've seen on any of the Pteranodons, and because of that little seam right here in the wing, it helps to make the actual wing flap look very, very cool, very natural, and similar to what you would probably see on a real pterosaur. So awesome action feature on the part of Mattel. Other than that, the articulation you've got right there, and then of course right here in the mid wing, and then the area where you can fold the wing, so it's either diving down or soaring, it's really up to you. And then you've of course got the articulated jaw, which we've gone over before, and that's pretty much where the articulation stops, I would imagine, on this Pteranodon. I don't really see anywhere else that would have articulation. So let's go ahead and get a size. As far as a wingspan goes, you're looking at about 16 inches, right around that range, maybe 16 and a quarter actually, or about 41 and a half centimeters, somewhere in that range. And for a height, about 7 3/4 inches, or about 19 centimeters, almost 20 centimeters for a size comparison. There is Mr. Papo T-Rex, Robert Muldoon, and the Attack Pack Colovosaurus next to our Pteranodon, showing you that this is about the same size as the Roarivore and Dual Attack versions that we've previously had, definitely showing you that it has some very large size to it. The Roarivore figures and now the Soundstrike figures are definitely really big figures, really nicely sized, definitely pack a lot of punch to the size department, and you can see that in comparison to these current figures in front of you. So this new Soundstrike Primal Attack Pteranodon is definitely my favorite Pteranodon, I think, out of all of the ones Mattel has released so far. A lot of people don't really share that same sentiment. A lot of people probably like the more Jurassic Park 3 style paint scheme or the Jurassic World paint scheme that we've had previously, but I really think that the paint scheme on this one is extremely flashy, but at the same time really natural looking. It definitely has some beautiful colors, and it's nice to see quite a few different variations of color included. These new Primal Attack figures have definitely impressed me when it comes to the amount of paint application added to them. Unfortunately, they haven't been painting the nails any more so than they have in the past, but we are now seeing more than 2 tones of color on the figures, and that is definitely a huge plus. In my opinion, I think that the action features of the Pteranodon are also really cool, very lifelike, definitely a great addition to this figure. The sounds that they do include with the Pteranodon are also awesome, absolutely awesome noises that come from this Pteranodon every single time you press one of the buttons, including the flapping of the wings and along with the screeching sound of the Pteranodon itself. Beautiful sounds, beautiful articulation, really awesome sculpt. The sculpt, as I've said, every single time I've reviewed one of these Pteranodons is just top notch. It really looks just like they do in the films. So Mattel absolutely nailed this Pteranodon just like they do continuously pretty much every single time. So if you would like to buy this, make sure you check out your local Target, because that's where I acquired mine, or you can check Entertainment Earth, but you'll probably be paying a little more than you should by ordering it on there. So my suggestion, check your local Target. But before you go running off to Target, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.